Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Butterfly Spirit 314. And today guys, what I'm doing is I want to talk about the topic of femininity. So you guys may be like, well, why is she talking about femininity? Like, does that matter? Yes. So femininity does matter. So a lot of women feel that to be feminine, they can do things like, let's say, worry about their external appearance, right? So, that's why you have a lot of girls who they focus a lot on, you know, their hair, their clothes, their eyelashes, their makeup, and other things. And image for a woman is important. However, I understand as a woman that that's not enough to make me as a woman feel fulfilled, because I understand now that expressing my femininity is really about loving myself. And in loving myself, I found myself looking things up about like what is self-love, right? And I decided to do that because I found myself and actually I found myself in several circumstances since I've grown up, from being a kid to an adult. There's been a lot of circumstances where I'd be like, I'd go out and be with family or friends or other people, and I'd wonder, I'd like do something as simple as going to the movies, and I wouldn't feel comfortable going, you know, and I was like, why don't I feel comfortable, getting out and going places? And I didn't associate, that with me having a lack of self-love. And I didn't associate with that. But now I know that I do lack self-love. There's a lot of people who lack self-love. And as a woman, I now understand that self-love is very important, because self-love is, for me, being able to be comfortable with myself, being comfortable with how I look, right? As in, like, what my body looks like, being comfortable with the things that I do, acknowledging things that I achieve, right? And saying, yeah, I did do that. That's good, you know, instead of just like pushing those things and saying, yeah, I did that, but it's not important, you know. Self love is something that I'm discovering to be being something where it's something that starts on the inside of me. And it's about me loving myself and being okay with me and feeling that, hey, I am enough, you know. And also me being able to respect myself and respect like standards or, different types of views I have. Okay. And so, self love to me is really a journey about getting to know myself better, getting to know, what I like, what I don't like, things that I'd like to change or improve upon within myself. And it's also about, making myself happy, because what a lot of people don't know is that happiness is not something that you get from the outside. It's something that comes from the inside of you. You have to be happy on the inside, right? Because being happy on the inside means that, you can be having fun and doing things you love and not need other people to validate you, you know. And you won't always have people around you to validate you and make you happy. So, I've discovered that, doing things that make me happy, these things, are things that come from the inside. And these are things where I'll have a want to do something. I'll have a want to go someplace, or, see a movie or eat a certain type of food or do something, like the things that, make me happy, I'm listening to and feeling what it is I want to do. And those things that are coming from the inside are bringing me joy. I'm also, learning how to, you know, I'm learning how to take on and enjoy doing the skills that women in my family were doing or are doing right now. So in my family, the skills that women have that for a long time I put off are cooking, sewing, knitting, crocheting, um, cleaning, other stuff like that. Okay, so when I was growing up as a kid, I was under the impression, and I was raised to believe this, that these skills are important, and they are. However, when I was brought up as a girl, I was told that, you know, expressing and doing, like when it comes to doing these, what some will call life skills, right? Then a woman will do these only, and she will do these things and display these things for her husband and her children. She won't display them, before she becomes married. She can learn how to do these things and stuff like that, but she should only display them, once she's married and she has kids. Okay. And for me, I internalized that and I was like, okay, so that means that, in terms of the skills and the things that women in my family do, what I'll do is I'll just hold off till I get married. And that's what I thought. And now I understand that, I can find joy in doing these things that women in my family do, you know, and I'm finding joy in these things. And actually, I'm on the path to doing these things. So there are some things that I'm working on doing. So I haven't really actively started yet, but one of the things some of the hobbies and skills I'm working on is I'm working on cooking. I am working on sewing. I'm working on knitting. I'm working on crocheting. I'm working on, organizing, cleaning, different things like that. I'm working on these things. And I know there's a lot of women out there who would say, well, I don't have to do that to be a woman. But no, you don't have to do those things to be a woman. But I'm discovering that it makes me happy to do these things, to learn to do these things, and they bring me joy and happiness. And, in what I'm learning about each one of these things, I'm learning how to, embrace change. I'm learning how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and it brings me joy to see myself progress and know more and more and more about things. And it's not just these particular wife skills or things that I'm doing that is making that's that it's not just doing these things, it's not just like progressing through them. The things that I'm learning about these particular skills that I'm taking on right now, that I'm making a part of myself, they're radiating out to other interactions that I have, to the point where, before I used to be really, untrusting of people. I'd be very standoffish. Now I'm embracing the fact of having conversations with people. If somebody talks to me, I engage in conversation with them. This is whether, I'm at work or I'm out and about, like going shopping or whatever. I talk to people to, to get to know them, and in getting to know them, I learn from people. Yesterday, for example, I went to the gas station and I paid for gas to put in my car, and then I ended up getting distracted, and then I ended up leaving the gas station, and then going to, I think I ended up going to the mall. And then when I left the mall, then I realized, I was like, oh man, I looked at my gas tank and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to get the gas. So I went back to the gas station. And when I went back to the gas station, luckily, my wallet, I had it cleaned out because I was able to find the receipt that where I had paid for the gas. And I went into the gas station and I talked to the guy that was the cashier. And I said, hey, I didn't get any gas. And he was like, oh, okay. And he told me, he explained to me, he said, well, he said, since you didn't pump any gas, then you weren't charged for it. And so he printed me out another receipt to show me that I wasn't charged for the gas. And so I was like, oh, okay. So he said, well, if you want to get gas, then, you'll have to pay for it with your card again. But, we didn't charge you for the gas because you never got it. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, so, if you don't end up, pumping any gas or whatever, then we don't charge you. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's something that I didn't know. And so, I embraced that information that the guy had shared with me. There was supposed to be a lady that was behind me, but when I turned around, because there was a lady that was in agreement with him that I heard that was saying, and it was saying, yeah, and it was acknowledging what he was saying. But when I turned around, the lady wasn't there. And I was like, huh? I feel like that was more one of those experiences where, one of those spiritual experiences anyway. But what I can say is that, I'm discovering like how having conversations with people is actually allowing me to learn things I didn't know. If you guys watch my prior video about the hidden repair I didn't know that I needed, then you guys will see that, that going and trying to take care of one repair that I needed for my car actually led to me discovering that there was a more serious repair that I needed to take care of. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't listen to my partner and I didn't listen to my brother. I wouldn't have, even went on the path to, I wouldn't even have known about that repair, because I just went to replace my tires and I was thinking, oh, okay, I just replaced the tires, that's cool. But then I didn't realize that I needed an alignment, and I didn't realize that I needed suspension work. And in order to get an alignment, I didn't know that I needed suspension work. So, in communicating with people and listening to people, I'm starting to understand that, hey, I'm learning stuff and I'm embracing that information. Instead of just being like, oh, I could just go on and do what I want to do without listening, I'm learning to listen, which I think is helping me, and I'm making better decisions, and I'm discovering that, there's connections in my life, there's connections between things that don't even seem related. There's connections between the most unlikely things, and I'm embracing those connections. And by doing that, that's like helping me to learn and grow as a woman. A lot of women feel like I said before, a lot of women feel like, all they have to do is just look the part as a woman. But there's more than just looking the part. It's also about, loving yourself. When you love yourself and you can make yourself happy, you can be comfortable with yourself, then you can love other people and care. And I think that, these are things that a lot of women should embrace, not just looking the part, but also working on the internal work that it takes to become a more feminine woman. And also, it's important, I'm discovering to be comfortable with being with people seeing me as a woman. Yes, I wear dresses, but that doesn't mean I'm comfortable as people seeing me as a woman, and it takes, what men don't know about that is, it could take women a while to be comfortable with being known as a woman, and embracing that. I saw this girl one day, that she saw me wearing a dress and immediately she looked uncomfortable. And it didn't just happen with her. There were other women that have looked at me that were uncomfortable when they saw me wearing a dress. And I was wearing a dress just, to wear a dress, because I was raised to know that a woman wearing a dress, a dress is a woman's uniform. That, as far as my mother's concerned. And so, I discovered that just being a female, being a woman doesn't mean that there's, that other women are comfortable with being women. And I understand now that I wasn't comfortable. Even though I was wearing a dress, I wasn't comfortable because, if people would look at me and see me in a dress, I was like, oh man, they're looking at me. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing this dress. That's right. You know, and when people compliment me, I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you. They compliment me on, oh, I like your dress, or they compliment my appearance. I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think that that's making me feel good, and that's making me more relatable as a woman. And these are just some of the things that I'm learning in addition to learning from my mistakes. So I'm learning, that I'm not completely right in a lot of situations. There's times where I make mistakes, just like with the gas station situation. And I drove away, didn't get any gas. Yeah, that was my mistake. But in acknowledging the mistake that I made, I was able to gain knowledge and be able to get gas for my car, right? And and I'm also learning from my mistakes you know, and decisions I've made or behaviors I've exhibited. There's times where I've been wrong and, accusatory or feeling like people should go by only what I think. And I'm starting to realize that that was extremely wrong. And I'm seeing the error of my ways. And you know, not only am I acknowledging that I was wrong, right? I'm acknowledging, hey, I made a mistake. I'm, learning that it's important to apologize, but in addition to apologizing, I'm learning that, hey, it's not just apologizing. I also need to be able to show that I've learned from my mistakes. And so that's what I'm taking the initiative to do, is not just say I'm sorry, but actually show, hey, this is how I'm going to fix this. This is what I'm going to do to be better, you know? And these are a lot of the things that I'm learning as a woman, and I'm also learning about, my body, being comfortable with it, how my body looks, you know, understanding that I don't have to have the biggest boobs. I don't have to have the biggest butt. I can be comfortable with the way that my body is and embracing that. And it's also important for me to take care of my body and love my body, because my body is what I'm going to need as I get older, to be healthy, so that I don't have any kind of health conditions or anything like that. And that starts with me taking these small steps to do things, to say, hey, this is my body, I value it. Taking the initiative to, eat right, exercise, and, watch what I put into my body, so that I can make sure that it's healthy and strong and, ready for the things that I'm going to be doing. So I'm on the path to learning a lot of things as a woman, and I'm embracing my femininity, and I'm gradually learning more things so that, I can be comfortable expressing my femininity. I'm not just relying on, okay, all I gotta do is, have the outside, have people outside of myself or things outside of myself to validate me. I'm learning that I need to have things that are within myself to validate me, so I can be happy, I can, have a good time by myself or around people, and I can also be able to share, the love I have with other people. So I'm learning so much, and I'm on this journey to, femininity, and, I'm not just, taking my own perspective of it, but I'm learning about, you know, how do men see, what do men think is feminine about a woman? What do women think is feminine about a woman? And then, what are those things like? Can I implement some things that maybe men think are feminine, or what women think are feminine? Can I implement some of those things into myself to bring myself happiness and joy, and be able to improve my relationships with, you know, with people I know, or, nature, the earth, or any other energies, So that's the path I'm on as far as femininity is concerned. And, I'm loving what I'm learning, and I'm just, making progress and going forward. And I encourage other women to embrace their femininity and know that your femininity is going to be different from what mine is. But you know, it's about getting comfortable with being a woman and being acknowledged as a woman, you know, and carrying yourself with that self-love, which is going to really validate you and make you feel the best. And it's also going to allow you to uplift other people in your life as well. Thanks for watching.